Whoa, that was another. God, that is cool. Alright, well, let's just use it now. Oh, perfect. Get that going. Boom! GG. What a blast to finish on. Holy. That was nutty. And that's Act 1, 2, and 3 done. Oh, 3 charges. Boom! This is going to be insane. Holy crap. That is epic. I just wanted to make a quick video and say, like, if you guys are struggling or having trouble and you want something cruisy, just do Huntress Twisters. And there's probably, like, plenty other builds along those lines you can follow. But I'll just show you what I've sort of done. And, yeah, let's get into it. So basically, the gist of it is, I will just demonstrate quickly. You pretty much whip up your whirling things, you do a barrage, and then I do an icy thing, and then I throw out my tornadoes, and it just goes nuts. And now, you get even more charges, like more extra tornadoes with Combat Frenzy, because when you freeze, you can get a Frenzy charge, and then Barrage gets extra empowers based on, like, the Frenzy chair. See, consumes your Frenzy charges to use to add an additional repeat. So basically you get, like, even more twisters. And then on this I have this, which has triggered a few times and is insane. You've probably seen it in the intro. It's actually crazy. You get so many twisters, especially if you have gone off of 3 Frenzy charges. I'm also using Herald of Blood, which is basically I make enemies bleed, and then based on the amount of blood loss, they go into a bloody explosion of physical damage. And yeah, and it has a chance of aggravating bleeding, which is very cool. Combat Frenzy, I have Profusion on at the moment, which has actually been really handy because it's 50% chance to just really quickly get the additional charge, so have 2 instead of 1, which can be really nice. And then occasionally I'll get up to 3, but most often I end up with 2. Bloodhound's Mark, this has just been really handy for heavily stunning enemies, especially bosses and stuff. You just whack that on them and then you start making them bleed and stuff, and then yeah, they get heavy stunned and pretty quickly sometimes, and it can be very, very useful. Hard to see sometimes though that whether the boss is affected by it, because it just shows a little graphic like above their head, or it doesn't really have like an icon on them that I've noticed, so it's just got the like icon physically in the game world like above the character head rather than like on the UI bar or anything. Now Twister, at the moment I've got Lacerate, which is how I'm getting bleeding. I've also got some bleeding on my passive tree, which I'll show you guys in a minute. I'm using Cold Infusion at the moment, and Acceleration. I'll probably get Persistence next, I think, just to get more duration. I also have some more duration going on my tree. Now Cold Infusion, I've got this on for now because I'm mostly using Frost Orb combo. And the reason you want some kind of element thing going is because, or not necessarily like a support gem, but you always want to be doing some kind of elemental ground effect, I would say, is because this right here, elemental twisters gain 50% of damage as damage of the corresponding type, which is basically because when passing over an elemental ground surface or consuming an elemental whirlwind, it'll grant twisters extra damage of that element, and it's 50% of the damage. So it's nutty. And the thing is, it can be from just this. So, and that's another thing I'll talk about. There's huge like versatility in this build, I guess, like in this character's set of skills, not necessarily the build, just the actual spear class, like the Huntress class, whatever you want to call it. But basically, yeah, you can do this and you can throw that out, or you can do like your whirlwinds and then throw it out, and then it's empowered this, so then if you wanted to shoot that way, you still get the elemental effect, and it's a lot of extra damage. And then that's how I'm freezing things and then triggering Combat Frenzy. And Whirling Slash, I've just got Martial Tempo and Encumbrance. Martial Tempo is the main one, just to make it a little bit faster. And Frostbolt, I'm just using Arcane Tempo, Cast Faster, and Scattershot, so I can just spread more frost. Yeah, I guess I'll quickly show you my passive tree, and then I'll just talk a bit more about the build and like how to use the kit, basically, or how I've been using it. But yeah, so basically I just started here. I just got movement speed because I like having the movement speed. It's nice. Get a little bit early, helps. Then down here, went projectile damage. A lot of projectile damage because the attack speed's not like... It's really nice to have, but early on it was just like not super important because I wasn't needing it too much and I was just doing bigger, heavier twisters basically. And then this one I've got... this is going to come in handy later when I'm scaling more accuracy rating, which I'll explain a bit later. But yeah, basically then I've first I went here and got this. Some more projectile damage, some stun build up, more projectile damage. More projectile damage, chances to chain off terrain additional times, pretty useful for twisters. I think then I came down here, I think, and then I got the bleed. Got some magnitude, more chance to inflict bleeding. Then I think I might have gotten this, bit of duration, and attack damage. Then I came over here, or whichever order I did it in, but anyway, got some attack speed, more area, more attack speed, because the attack speed's really nice. Because the thing I will say is once you do get the attack speed going a little bit, it makes the combo feel like really smooth, because at first sometimes it takes a while to work up the combo, so you're kind of like taking hits and having to tank a little bit, but having more attack speed just makes things feel smoother and more snappy to get going. And I've also come down here and I've got this, some more area damage, projectile damage. So basically the focuses are like projectile damage, area of effect, attack speed, duration, and for me, bleeding, because I'm doing bleeding and Herald of Blood and combining that with the freezing and everything, which has been really, really cool. Next, and another thing as well is, which works out really well, which will come in handy for later, is I'm near accuracy nodes, and there's a thing on my Ascendancy for the Amazon, which lets me basically get extra critical chance for exceeding 100% accuracy. And you can see here, like I'm near another accuracy node, so I've got a couple of them I can get. But next, I think basically what I'm going to be doing is I'll be coming down here, because my plan is basically to get some more blood loss stuff, get some more area damage, some more blood loss, and then there's some more projectiles and chain and whatnot, so that's going to be really handy. That's sort of where I'm headed next. And then I'll probably get some more of the accuracy rating and whatnot. And eventually I might build some evasion rating and armor and whatever. I may also just get this, because this is just a really, really nice node. Now the Ascendancy, I went Amazon. I guess I'll quickly mention Ritualist is kind of cool too. But for me, Amazon worked better. Ritualist, the main two cool things it has is like Blood Boil, I think it was called, which basically enemies start building up a big blood boil. Then when they die, they explode and they put corrupted blood on enemies. But I was already doing a lot of stuff and I wanted more scaling stuff, which is what this will give me on the Amazon. But also the Ritualist has the cool thing where you can get 3 rings, and then you can get 25% increased effect of rings, so you could do some crazy stuff with that. And I imagine if you got like Ingenuity belt, unless that's been nerfed, I don't know, but that belt was crazy because it increased the effect of your rings. Like I think a perfect rolled one was like by 80%, so if you got that and then you got the 25% and you had like 105% increased effect of rings, and then you had like 3 crazy rolled breach rings with 50 quality, you could probably do some insane stuff. But anyway, talking about the Amazon, first I got this because this was just the easy one to start with, because I didn't really have anything else scaling. I didn't have my combat frenzy online. I didn't have like frenzy charges happening. So I went with this, which is really cool, because you'll see like on rares and uniques health bars, they'll have like a different textured section of their health. That's a weakness. Once you get to that point on their health bar, it opens the weakness and you do 50% more damage against the enemy, and it is insane. You can then go up here and get this. I don't think I'm going to end up getting this. I might, but I imagine I'm going to have enough attack speed and movement speed and everything anyway. And this was my next choice, because this is insane. I've only just got this, but basically now, when I have my combat frenzy going, and I get my frenzy charges, and usually because I get like, you know, whatever I get, basically when you use the frenzy charges to trigger the barrage, it then gives you charges of lightning infusion. So basically, because you've triggered the barrage and got the lightning infusion, now when your twisters finish their lifespan, they explode in a big lightning explosion, and that's pretty nutty. So basically it's just like an extra layer of damage. Converts 100% of physical damage to lightning damage. So basically, because I'm doing a fair bit of physical, just by on the base twister, it converts that to a big lightning explosion, which is really cool. And I'm hoping that, you know, maybe I can get it to shock. Basically, I haven't put anything on it yet, but I might put like conduction and stuff. So then, because that's the other layer I want to get. I somehow want to get shock happening on enemies. And also with the cold infusion I was talking about earlier on Twister, I might end up taking this out because I may end up getting like flame wall, so then I can put fire wall, like have fire twisters, and I also might find a way to get shocked ground easily, so then I can have like shock twisters, basically like big lightning twisters. I know I can do the shocked ground thing on the monk's quarterstaff. That could be fun, but that's also not necessarily the... I'd probably use it to like retreat back and then fire the twisters through the field of like shocked ground. That may end up being what I do, but there may be another way I end up doing it. And also if I can get the lightning infusions just having a higher chance to shock, that'll be cool too. But I need to experiment with that. But then continuing on the Ascendancy tree, I imagine what I'm going to end up getting for my other Ascendancies is just going to be these two. Because Critical Strike, basically when your chance to hit is exceeding 100%, you get critical hit chance, additional critical hit chance equal to 25% of that excess chance to hit with attacks. So basically if you have like 120% chance to hit, then you'll get 5% crit chance, as I understand it, which is kind of nutty because I especially in conjunction with this, because you'll be building like heaps of accuracy if you're using this. This is kind of like an endgame optimization one, it feels like, because this is like your weapons accuracy rating. You know, attacks using your weapons have added physical damage equal to 25% of the accuracy rating on the weapon. So this is like, you get one of those weapons with like a huge accuracy rating roll of like, I think some of them are like 400 or 500 or something crazy. You get, so say you got a 400 one, then you'd have 100 extra physical damage just in the base calculations of stuff, which is nutty, like, because that scales pretty big. And then, of course, because you've got a heap of extra accuracy rating, and then because I'll be building accuracy rating nodes and increasing that, then that will give me even more percent to get critical hits, which will just scale my damage even more. So that's kind of the thinking there. So another thing I wanted to quickly talk about is that I've been really enjoying the versatility or flexibility kind of using the spear and the way I've been using it, because the way the skills work, there's just a lot of interesting things you can do and ways you can kind of fight. So, you know, I can throw out a frost field, I can shoot my twister like that, right? But I can also, as I mentioned earlier, I can do this, and then I can get a storm going, and then I can do that. The other thing I didn't mention is I'm also now using, I got Whirlwind Lance, which basically lets me throw a field forward like that, and then I can shoot a twister through it. So if I've done this, I can do something like this, throw one there, and then I can go, and then I can throw another, and the second one will trigger that, depending on the size of these. Because the first one triggers, and then that triggered the second, but when they're max size, they don't trigger it. So if I go like 2 and then throw, I'm pretty sure that should trigger them. Yep, and then you just get extras. But if I've gone 3 spins, oh, I don't know, you just saw something there that I can show you too, that 3 spins won't trigger it, and then you have to throw again. Basically, like, that will never affect the other tornado, like the other whirlwind, because I think otherwise you could infinitely proc, basically. Because what you can do is, the other thing you can do, which is really cool, you can start throwing twisters out, right? And then you can spin, and then see how the twisters hit this, and they keep interacting with it, and they keep getting bigger. But then that's the thing I was talking about before, where what happens eventually is they get to the 3rd stage, and then when they're at the 3rd stage, they won't actually trigger again. I'll try and go in this like small area just to really demonstrate. But it can be really cool because you can throw down like some frost, you can do a bit of this, and then just start sending out more and more tornadoes. And then when it gets full, you can be like, all right, now I'll throw that out, I'll throw one over there, and then do that. And as you can see, you can just really quickly get tornadoes going everywhere, even without the crazy unleash of the combo. And then, you know, you can add in barrage anytime you want, even without the frenzy charges. It's still really, really good. And also, you can do things like, because if you're in a bit of a situation, you can just back out and that'll explode. And there is the disengage skill you can get if you wanted to mix that in, where you do kind of like a flip out of it and it gets you a bit further back. And also you can charge into this one and it'll explode. And you can have multiples of these, so you can do shit like this and then go. And there, as you can see, tornadoes everywhere, twisters everywhere. The other cool thing about Whirlwind Lance, which is worth mentioning, is if you do have a frenzy charge, it can consume it, and then, as you can see there, the whirlwind it creates will have one more than its normal maximum number of stages. So it's like a super big tornado with like a super big whirlwind, which can be really cool, because then of course you throw your twisters into it and it sends out big tornadoes. But anyway, guys, that is it for this video. I just wanted to talk you through sort of what I've been doing and how it's worked out. It's been a lot of fun, just a lot of twisters and a lot of like explosions and just cool interactions and a lot of really cool fun ways to move around and use the kit. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to like blasting through more of the game. Also, I have been streaming over on Twitch and actually on YouTube. I've set up a bit of a multi-stream thing. Seems to be working all right so far. So if you want to see me playing through some more of the game, I'll be streaming soon, because I'm trying to stream a bit more. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions or if you have any tips or cool things you've noticed about the mechanics of these skills or any other skills or anything that the Huntress is doing, or and just anything else Path of Exile 2 in general, I'd love to hear it down in the comments, because man, I'm loving this game. It's yeah, really cool. And also, if you're someone that's had like issues with the 0.2 update, feel free to dive into that in the comments as well. I'd love to hear about that too, because it's always good to get different perspectives. I've just been avoiding watching some of the YouTube videos at the moment because I didn't want to color my thoughts too much about the game while I'm actually still playing through the 0.2 update. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.